The invasion's end. The command deck of the Duraxian flagship Inevitable Conquest hummed with subdued excitement. High Commander Lissuk stood with his forearms clasped behind his back, all three of his amber eyes fixed on the viewscreen displaying Earth's blue-green sphere. Atmospheric fires still raged across several continents, the aftermath of what had been the shortest planetary conquest in Duraxian military history. "Status report," Lissuk demanded, his voice carrying the distinctive jewel-toned resonance of a pure-blood Duraxian elite. First Officer Terax consulted his neural interface. Conquest parameters at 98.6%. High Commander. All major Earth military installations neutralized. Remaining resistance is fragmented and without central command. Human leadership has been captured or eliminated. Lissuk's facial ridges flushed purple with satisfaction. 3 days, just 3 standard days to bring the supposedly formidable humans to their knees. The intelligence division had estimated at least 2 weeks of heavy fighting. The Galactic Council had cautioned against engaging with Earth at all, citing the species' unpredictable nature and their reputation for what humans themselves called thinking outside the box. What utter nonsense. Victory celebration protocols are in order, I believe, Lissuk announced, turning to face his bridge crew. The Duraxian Empire has once again demonstrated superiority through proper planning and overwhelming technological advantage. A ripple of agreement passed through the command deck. Several junior officers touched their foreheads in the traditional victory salute. The Archon himself has transmitted his congratulations. Terax added, "The humans' reputation for being dangerous adversaries appears to have been greatly exaggerated." Lissuk allowed himself a rare gesture of informal approval, a short barking laugh. Indeed, their much-vaunted adaptability proved worthless against a properly executed alpha strike. They never had time to adapt. "Shall we begin processing the human leadership, High Commander?" asked Security Director Maris. "The neural scans are prepared." "Yes, bring the first specimen to my private interrogation chamber. I want to understand what these creatures were thinking when they rejected our initial diplomatic overtures." Lissuk straightened his command mantle. "Select the highest-ranking scientific mind we've captured. I'm curious about their technological development path." 20 minutes later, Lissuk stared with fascination at the human female sitting across from him in the interrogation chamber. Dr. Maya Chen, according to her credentials, had been the director of Earth's quantum physics division. She appeared remarkably composed despite her planet's defeat and her own capture. Most conquered species exhibited visible distress at this stage. Trembling, excessive perspiration, vocal quavering. This human displayed none of these. "Dr. Chen," Lissuk began, "I trust you understand the gravity of your situation." The human's dark eyes studied him with unsettling intensity. "I understand exactly where things stand, Commander Lissuk." "High Commander," he corrected automatically. A slight movement at the corner of her mouth, what humans called a smile, though this one lacked warmth. "For now." Lissuk felt a momentary flicker of irritation. "Your species' defiance, even in defeat, is noteworthy but ultimately futile. Earth has fallen. Your military forces have been decimated. Your leadership structure dismantled. The Duraxian Empire now controls your world." Dr. Chen tilted her head slightly. "Is that what you believe?" "It is what has occurred," Lissuk stated flatly. "We monitored your global communications until they went silent. We have visual confirmation of your military's destruction. These are facts, not beliefs." Interesting distinction. Chen shifted in her seat, appearing surprisingly comfortable despite the restraints. "In human scientific inquiry, we maintain a healthy skepticism about what appears to be factual. Observation can be misleading." Lissuk leaned forward. "Are you suggesting your planet has not been conquered?" "I'm suggesting that conclusions based on incomplete data are often flawed." The human's calm demeanor was beginning to disturb Lissuk in ways he couldn't quite articulate. By all logic, she should be terrified, or at least concerned. Instead, she seemed almost expectant. "We've studied your species extensively," Lysick said, changing tactics, your history, psychology, technology, your tendency to fragment into competing nation-states, your inability to unite even when facing planetary threats. These weaknesses made your conquest inevitable. Did your studies include Earth's military doctrine? Lysick waved a dismissive hand. Primitive, reliant on centralized command structures. Once we eliminated your leadership and communications networks, your forces became disorganized and ineffective. Dr. Chen's expression remained unchanged. Then you missed something fundamental about us. Before Lysick could respond, his neural implant pulsed with an incoming priority alert. He frowned, turning slightly away from the human as he accessed the message. Strange reports were coming in from multiple Duraxian outposts across the planet. Systems malfunctions, unexplained power fluctuations, communications disruptions. When he turned back, the human's expression had changed slightly. There was something in her eyes now, a look that Lysick had seen before in the eyes of Duraxian battle tacticians just before they sprung a trap. What is happening? He demanded. Rule number 1, Dr. Chen said simply. Explain. In studying humanity, Commander, it appears you overlooked rule number 1 of engaging with our species. The human leaned forward, her restraints suddenly falling away as if deactivated. Never assume we're beaten. At that exact moment, the ship's emergency alarms began to wail. The hidden protocol. The command deck of the inevitable conquest had descended into controlled chaos. Lysick strode through the sliding doors, dragging Dr. Chen alongside him. The human came willingly, offering no resistance, which only heightened his suspicion. Status report. He bellowed over the blaring alarms. First Officer Terax's normally composed demeanor had fractured. Multiple system failures across the fleet. High Commander. Communications arrays non-responsive. Weapon systems powering down without authorization. Ship-to-surface transporters offline. Cause. Unknown, sir. Initial diagnostics suggest some form of cascading systems intrusion, but our countermeasures are detecting no active infiltration. Lysick turned to Dr. Chen. Explain this. Now. Protocol Omega, she replied calmly. Earth's true defense system. Security Director Maris approached, his posture tense. Sir, we're receiving similar reports from all ground forces. Their equipment is failing systematically. And there's something else. We're detecting massive energy signatures activating beneath the planet's surface. Signatures that weren't there during our initial scans. Lysick's facial ridges darkened to deep indigo. A Duraxian sign of growing rage. Impossible. Our pre-invasion surveillance was thorough. Every human military installation was mapped and targeted. Every visible installation, Dr. Chen corrected. You saw exactly what we wanted you to see. A terrible suspicion began forming in Lysick's mind. You anticipated our invasion. Not yours specifically, but we've been preparing for extraterrestrial hostility for over 50 years. Dr. Chen walked to the view screen without waiting for permission, gesturing toward Earth. Humanity has a long history of warfare among ourselves. It taught us valuable lessons about survival. On the screen, strange patterns of light began spreading across Earth's night side. Organized grids and structures becoming visible where there had been only darkness before. What you're seeing is Protocol Omega activating, Chen continued. After the discovery of alien life in 2072, Earth's nations secretly united behind a single defensive strategy, appear divided and technologically inferior, while building our true military infrastructure out of sight. Lysick stared in growing horror as new data flowed across the tactical displays. Hidden installations were powering up all across Earth's surface. Orbital tracking was suddenly detecting hundreds of previously invisible satellites activating in near-Earth space. This is impossible, Terax whispered. Our intelligence indicated Earth had no unified planetary defense system. Your intelligence was manipulated, Chen said simply. For decades, we deliberately leaked information suggesting internal divisions. We maintained the appearance of competing nation-states while building a unified defense network beneath the surface. We kept our most advanced technology hidden. Lysick grabbed her arm. Why? Why this deception? Game theory, Chen replied. If we appeared too powerful, potential aggressors would simply wait or develop countermeasures. If we appeared too weak and divided, we would invite attack. So we presented a carefully calibrated image, just threatening enough to make most civilizations cautious, but vulnerable enough that an aggressive species might attempt conquest. A new alarm sounded. Security Director Maris checked his console and looked up with an expression of disbelief. High Commander, we're detecting mass activation of previously dormant devices aboard all our vessels. They appear to have been integrated into our systems during construction. Impossible. Lysick roared. Our shipyards are secure. Dr. Chen shook her head. Your supply chains aren't. For 15 years, human agents have been seeding quantum-entangled microdevices into the component materials your empire purchases from the Cygnus Mining Consortium. Those devices are now receiving their activation signals. Another officer called out, Sir, we've lost engine control. Life support switching to emergency protocols. Lysick felt the deck vibrate beneath his feet as the massive ship's propulsion systems shut down. The realization of what was happening, of what had been happening for years before his fleet ever approached Earth, hit him with physical force. You wanted us to attack, he said, his voice hollow. You baited us. We needed to identify actual threats, Chen replied. Those who would choose peaceful contact have nothing to fear from us. Those who would attempt conquest, she gestured around at the failing ship. They trigger Protocol Omega. Across the command deck, more systems were shutting down. Display screens flickered and died. The artificial gravity wavered momentarily. Your civilization is not even unified. Lysick protested, grasping at his shattered understanding of human society. Your nations compete. Your leaders publicly disagree. We monitored your communications for years. A carefully maintained illusion, Chen said. What you saw were the political theaters we maintain for exactly this purpose. Behind closed doors, Earth has had a unified defensive command structure since 2075. On the few remaining functional screens, Lysick watched with mounting dread as strange craft began emerging from hidden installations across Earth's surface. The designs were like nothing the Duraxian intelligence had reported. Sleek, advanced vessels that bore little resemblance to the primitive spacecraft humans publicly used. You should know, Chen added, almost conversationally, that similar protocols are now activating across your empire. Dormant network infiltrators that have been waiting for this signal. Your home defense systems, your central military command, your production facilities, all compromised. Lysick stumbled back into his command chair as the full implications washed over him. This wasn't just a failed conquest. This was a catastrophic strategic defeat decades in the making. Who are you really? He asked, staring at the human who had presented herself as merely a scientist. Director of Earth Defensive Intelligence, she replied, finally showing a genuine smile. And your first contact with humanity's actual leadership. Rule number 1. 3 days after what humans were already calling the reversal, High Commander Lysick, now stripped of rank and authority, sat across from a panel of Earth military officials in what had once been his private command chamber aboard the inevitable Conquest. The Duraxian fleet hung motionless in Earth orbit, every system under human control. Let's be clear about your situation, said General Marcus Williams, a stern-faced human with gray at his temples. Your empire launched an unprovoked attack on our planet. Under interstellar law, we would be justified in responding with equivalent force. Lysick had abandoned pride days ago. The Duraxian Empire acknowledges its error. We request clemency. Dr. Chen, seated to the general's right, tapped something on the data surface before her. Our intelligence suggests your attack was ordered by a military faction within your government, against the counsel of your diplomatic corps. Is that accurate? Lysick blinked in surprise. How could you possibly know that? As I explained earlier, we've had infiltration networks in place throughout your communications systems for some time. We've been monitoring the internal debates of your leadership. The admission sent a chill through Lysick. The humans had been far deeper inside Duraxian society than he had imagined possible. "What happens now?" he asked, dreading the answer. General Williams leaned forward. "That depends on your cooperation. We have no interest in destroying the Duraxian Empire or occupying your worlds. Earth's policy has always been to defend, not conquer." "Then what do you want?" "A fundamental reorganization of your military command structure," Dr. Chen said. "The removal of the expansionist faction from power and the establishment of genuine diplomatic relations, this time with the actual unified Earth government, not the fragmented facade we present to the galaxy." Lysick tried to process this. "You're offering peace after what we attempted." "We're offering a reset," Williams clarified. "Your empire has much to offer the galaxy. So does Earth. We'd prefer collaboration to conflict." A new human entered the chamber, an older female with an air of absolute authority. The other humans immediately stood at attention. Even Dr. Chen, who had seemed unflappable throughout the crisis, showed deference. "High Commander Lysick," the newcomer said, "I am President Elena Reyes of the United Earth Government. I've reviewed your service record, including your reluctance to launch this invasion before your superiors overruled you." Lysick stared in shock. They even knew about his private objections. "Madam President," he acknowledged, uncertain of the proper protocol. President Reyes took a seat. "I'll be direct. The revelation of Earth's true technological capabilities and unified government will send shockwaves through the galactic community. Many civilizations will be reassessing their understanding of humanity." "As they should," Lysick said quietly. "We severely underestimated you." "Which brings us to rule number 1, Dr. Chen interjected. "Never assume humans are beaten. It's a principle that has served our species through countless conflicts, both internal and external." President Reyes nodded. "Our history is filled with moments where seemingly defeated human forces regrouped and ultimately prevailed. From ancient battles to our world wars to the climate crisis of the last century, we have repeatedly demonstrated our capacity to snatch victory from apparent defeat. We built Protocol Omega based on that principle," General Williams added. "It's designed to activate only after an aggressor believes they've won, when their guard is down, when they're celebrating victory." Lysick felt a new appreciation for the psychological sophistication of the strategy. "You allowed us to believe we had conquered Earth. We allowed you to trigger our real defenses," Chen corrected. "Every strike against Earth's military installations actually activated another node in our response network. Your victory celebration became your defeat." A holographic display activated in the center of the chamber, showing the current status of Earth's emergence onto the galactic stage. Duraxian Empire representatives were already meeting with the actual Earth diplomatic corps. The hidden human fleet, far more advanced than anything Lysick had believed possible, had taken up defensive positions throughout the solar system. Most shocking of all, the display showed Earth's quantum communication network extending to previously unknown human outposts on Mars, Europa, and Titan, colonies that had been completely hidden from galactic observation. "You've had settlements throughout your solar system for decades," Lysick realized. "All concealed." "Of course," President Reyes confirmed. "Would you put all your species' hopes on a single planet? Humanity has maintained a compartmentalized existence for precisely this scenario. Earth could fall, and humanity would continue." The revelation of humanity's true extent and capabilities fundamentally altered Lysick's understanding of galactic power dynamics. Earth wasn't merely a single planet with promising but limited technology. It was the visible portion of a solar system-spanning civilization that had deliberately hidden its advancement. "What happens to me?" Lysick finally asked. Dr. Chen and President Reyes exchanged glances. "You return to the Duraxian Empire," the president said, "as our official liaison. You understand both sides now. You've learned rule number 1 the hard way. And you'll deliver a message to your Archon, General Williams added. Earth desires peace, but we are prepared for war. Any civilization that mistakes our diplomatic overtures for weakness will face the same awakening your forces experienced. As the meeting concluded and Lysick contemplated his new role, he couldn't help but reflect on the colossal miscalculation his empire had made. They had seen Earth's apparent divisions as weakness when they were actually strategic deception. They had interpreted human technological restraint as limitation rather than calculated concealment. Most of all, they had failed to understand the core of human psychology, the trait that Dr. Chen had identified as rule number 1. Humans were at their most dangerous not when they were strong, but when they appeared defeated. As the former High Commander was escorted from the chamber, he found Dr. Chen walking alongside him. A word of advice for your reports back to the Duraxian Empire, she said quietly. There are other rules about humanity that your intelligence missed. Rule number 2 is particularly important. What is rule number 2? Lysick asked, curiosity overcoming his humiliation. Chen's expression was serious, but her eyes held a glint of what humans called humor. Humans make better friends than enemies. Remember that, and our civilizations might have a future together after all. The fallen commander nodded slowly, finally understanding the first basic truth about humanity. Their greatest weapon wasn't their hidden technology or their secret unification. It was their ability to make others underestimate them, right up until the moment they revealed their full strength. Rule number 1, indeed.